school building my dad had attended. And most of the years that I was there, Miss Elsie Tate was the teacher. What a wonderful lady she was, and what a wonderful teacher. She taught all 8 grades in one room. Now, a time or two during my elementary years, we got up enough students. We would go out and we would be urged to go out and try to recruit students from the Panhandle School or the Utah School, because if we could get up to seem like something in the 40s, close to 50, it would qualify us for 2 teachers. And we did that one or 2 years. Had 2. Once when we had 2 teachers, that would have been in 1946, we were sitting in the classroom just after the noon lunch hour, and someone said, "Look at that smoke." And we looked back to our south and east, and we could see an airplane in the sky smoking. And it turned out it was a guy, there was a squadron of Hellcats that had been moved from their base in Florida to Fort Knox, Kentucky, but due to a storm, a hurricane that was predicted. And they were on their return trip to Florida when something happened and this plane caught fire. The pilot, unfortunately, from Chattanooga, by the way, was killed in that crash. And the crash actually hit the ground out in the Swiss colony area. But it looked like, to us, it was just right over there, you know. And he has a memorial stone, the pilot does, out here at the Grundy County, the old Grundy County Courthouse site in Altamont. Well, it was also during those elementary years that I learned so much more than just reading and writing and arithmetic. Elsie Tate was a woman of principle. And when there was a funeral service at the Grace Chapel Church just across the street, school closed. And she would tell the students, now if any of you would like to go to the funeral, you may do that. For the rest of you that would like to just stay at the schoolhouse, you will have to sit in your desk. You can't go to the toilet. You can't talk. You can't do anything but breathe, and do that very lightly. We're not going to make any noise. Those people, whoever they are over there, are burying their loved one, and we're going to pay respect. You know, I still have that same feeling when I see a funeral procession go through, or I'm at a funeral home. Someone is burying their loved one. I try to be respectful of that. I went to one of my first funerals over there one day. I didn't know the man, but I wanted to see what a funeral was about, and it turned out to be a man that I had seen locally. His name was Brown Green, and he only had one leg. I remember seeing him around the stores with two, no, I believe he just had one crutch, and had his leg off right above his knee, and would have his pants leg, well, pinned up. The 1948 governor's campaign brought about an exciting thing for people in Beersheba Springs. Roy Acuff, Grand Ole Opry star, was the gubernatorial candidate, and he was coming to Altamont to make a campaign speech. It was going to be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And here, Clopper, if you can zoom in on that, is a picture of Roy Acuff, newspaper reprint. He's standing on the back of a truck out at Altamont between the old Mormon church and the courthouse that burned. He had all the Smoky Mountain Boys with him, and my mother had our car, the 39 Chevrolet, down at the school that day, and so we just packed that car full. And Miss Elsie let us out early. What a big event to see Roy Acuff, you know, educational also, to hear a candidate talk about state government and what he planned on doing and not doing. He didn't get elected, but he came close. Another thing that I just observed in my envelope there with the picture of Roy Acuff was another little photo that I have of a man that most everyone's read about, named John Dillinger. John Dillinger, it is reported, once lived in Beersheba Springs. And the reason that I have this photo, I saw it in the Chattanooga News Free Press one day. It says Dillinger was killed on this day in history, July the 22nd, 1934. The man that FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover had called public enemy number 1 was shot and killed by federal agents outside the Chicago's Biograph Theater. My understanding is that that was just a short time after he reportedly left Beersheba Springs. He had been injured in a robbery with a gunshot, and it's reported that he rented a room over at the Hoover Waddle house, and there was an old man living in Beersheba Springs by the name of Marshall Whitman. He's the son of Lonnie that runs the store now where Brown's used to be. Bud.
You mean the father of?
The father of Bud, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was named Marshall Whitman. And I had my store going when this picture was in the paper, and so I took it. Marshall had told me that he remembered John Dillinger, and that he used an alias of Boshi. He said he helped dig a cistern somewhere, and he and Boshi, and he said Boshi was down in the hole digging, and him bringing the dirt out, and he said if I'd have just known that he was John Dillinger, I said I already had him captured. All I'd have to do is put something over the top of the hole. But I just thought Marshall might, I don't know, I didn't want to doubt his word, but so I cut this out. One day when Marshall came to the store, I folded it over where he couldn't read the name. And I said, Marshall, who does this picture here make you think of? Well, he got up and walked over to the door and held it in the sunlight, and he said, why, that's old Boshi. So there are other reports of John Dillinger's presence in Beersheba Springs that makes it sound like it probably did happen. About 1949, I had an experience that is still with me today. My mother was working at the Beersheba Springs school as the cook. We had a lunchroom. I remember we'd get those commodities from the state, federal government. My mother earned $2 per day.
Don, we've got 4 minutes left. I think we should stop. And
Turn it off. Got all that truck noise behind it too.